Welcome back, everybody. So here we are with issue 10, and this will be the issue 10 bonus. Um, and hopefully, this is as interesting as any of the others. So this one, we're finally up to the YT1300. So we have the YT1300F and the YT1300P, cargo transports and people carriers. I'm guessing that's what the P is for. I don't know. Let's find out. So nothing demonstrates the versatility of the YT1300 better than the fact that CEC offered it in two entirely different configurations, as a cargo transport or a people carrier. Although CEC expected its customers to add their own modifications from the options available, the company initially offered its new light freighter with a choice of two basic configurations, the YT1300F and the 1300P. In the freight version, most of the interior of the ship is simply empty space, maximizing the cargo holds and expanse at the expense of the crew, who were provided only minimal facilities and few creature comforts. Emphasizing the designer's priority, the 1300F has twin port and starboard loading ramps, configured to admit droids and treaded cargo loaders. The space taken up by these ramps and the clearance that they needed to retract take up much of the space that is used for escape pods in the YT1300P. Instead, there are matching port and starboard docking rings. These changes barely alter the external appearance of the YT1300. Conversely, the 1300P configuration fits as much living space as possible into the hull, installing multiple passenger cabin modules in areas that would otherwise be used for cargo or machinery. There's a single cargo hold. So now the question is, was the Falcon a 1300P or a 1300F? We know that Han did some smuggling, but Lando had it as his own kind of personal yacht. So, good question. See if we talk about that. Okay, so let's go through here. Technical specifications for 1300F, 2 crew, 6 passengers, 100 tons of cargo. It's a type YT1300P. Oh, okay, for the 1300P, 2 crew, 9 to 15 passengers, and 25 tons of cargo. The common factors, its length, max speed in the atmosphere. Hyperdrive was a class 2, and the hyperdrive backup was a class 12. So here we go. This is what we see different in the two. So the 1300F would be here, and this would be the 1300P. So I'm going to say that the Falcon was the P, right? So this is for the P. So we have the crew area here, which is we're all familiar with, right? Yeah, I mean, we don't see all this other stuff, but this seems very much like would have been Lando's space back here, right? Hard to say. I mean, we don't see all this other cargo space that they had, but we do know that this is what the cargo area looks like for the Falcon. We've got these two hatches here. So I don't know. Maybe it was an F, and um, Han just or Lando made it as a personal kind of yacht type of thing. So I don't see anything that really says which version the Falcon was. So maybe we'll have to do some checking. I'll do some checking, and if I can find it while I'm editing the video, I will put it up here, flash it here, right here, and then we'll all know. Okay. Nav computers. So nav computers, we all know, is very important. It's not like dust and crops. You can fly too close to a star or go right through a planet. So, yeah. Any journey through real space or hyperspace depends on being able to plot a course that avoids countless hazards en route. Uh, the calculations required to do so are so complex that our starship captain needs the help of an automated system. So, right, we know that's very important. So, secrets of space flight. So, let's talk about this here. Behind the scenes. So, conventional science suggests that it is impossible to travel faster than the speed of light, which is 671 million miles per hour. Now, although some theoretical physicists have suggested various ways in which a form of hyperspace travel might be possible, going faster than light would require a whole series of scientific breakthroughs that go way beyond our current understanding. Even though the speed of light seems incredibly fast, interstellar travel will depend on exceeding it. Our nearest neighboring star, Proxima Centauri, is 4.24 light years away. That means explorers would take almost 51 months to reach it, even if their spaceship could attain full light speed. A journey taking that long would at least be feasible for a human being, but traveling across our galaxy, the Milky Way, even at light speed, would take an impossible 100,000 years. However, we are a very long way away. Long way. Let me start over because I cannot read that properly. However, we are a very long way from achieving such speeds. The most distant probe able to send we have been able to send out is Voyager 1, or dare I say, any Star Trek fans, uh, V'ger, was it V'ger or something like that? Um, when it left our solar system in 2012, it was traveling at a speed of a little under 40,000 miles per hour, and at that rate, a spaceship could take 80,000 years even to reach Proxima Centauri. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. So the standard equipment of the YT-1300 is a Rubicon astrogation computer made by the Microaxial Company. This was state-of-the-art when the ship was originally designed and is still faster than most brand new astromech droids. Like most of the components specified by CEC, the stock nav computer is both tough and easy to upgrade, and Han Solo saw no need to change the Millennium Falcon's factory fitting. However, he and Chewbacca have upgraded the Rubicon's memory modules so it can store data from almost unlimited jump calculations to star systems all over the galaxy. As the nav computer is such a key piece of equipment, experienced crews ensure they have a backup, and in the case of the Falcon, the Rubicon is cloned onto a multiple microaxial HYD modular nav computer housed near the aft engineering station. In the unfortunate, if unlikely, event of both the Rubicon and its clone failing, the Falcon also has an old school backup in the form of basic astrogation plotter instead of star charts. These are housed in a strong box bolted underneath the engineering station in the ring corridor. In an emergency, these tools are enough to allow experienced spacer to calculate the ship's location and plot a path to the nearest spaceport or habitable planet. So one of the things we do know from the Solo movie, which this came out before the Solo movie, this is now not correct. So we know that there was a droid that was added in to the Navicomputer to help it. So that's probably why Han decided not to upgrade it, because it was no longer original spec anyway. So yeah, pretty cool. So we know that you'd have to have that just to calculate everything, right? Makes sense. I mean, we know what NASA has to do just to, get a rocket up out of space, out into space, and then return it back, to recover it. So it takes a lot. So uh, very, very calculation intensive for sure. Landing on Dagobah. So Dagobah, there's a planet that we haven't heard much about, at least not in this series anyway. So it's in the Outer Rim territories in the Sluice sector, the Dagobah system. It's got one moon, two orbital positions, no major routes that are along through there on the trade route, which is probably why Yoda decided to go there. And it's 52,000 light years from the core. Its class is a little bit smaller than Earth. Oxygen mist. It's murky. You got a murky climate. Standard gravity, swamp, bogs, jungles, and bayous, and the surface is 8% water. It seems like it'd be more than that. I mean, seems, I don't know, if it's mostly bogs and swamps and all that kind of stuff. You know, Earth is, you know, like what, 75% water, so it seems kind of like we'd expect to see more. So, well, here's something I never noticed. So, rotation period 23 standard hours, orbital period is 341 local days. So, 1 year is 341 days, and it's 1 hour shorter than Earth. So that's kind of cool. So there's Dagobah. Um, So what else we learn here about Dagobah? So filming in Dagobah, Dagobah scenes in The Empire Strikes Back were filmed on a huge set built on the Star Wars stage in Elstree after the hangar interior and Millennium Falcon were removed. One production sketch showed a backdrop measuring 24 meters wide and 7.5 meters high. The center of the stage was filled with a vast tank the size of a swimming pool, some 1.2 meters deep. This had to accommodate the full-size X-Wing on a ramp that held it at the crash angle, with its forward undercarriage removed to permit the nose to be underwater. Filming Yoda using the force to lift the X-Wing out of the swamp was a technically challenging operation that took over a day to film, what amounted to less than a minute of screen time. Dagobah was to have appeared in Revenge of the Sith, but was cut from the theatrical version and only appeared on the DVD release. So apparently, I guess I never really paid attention to Yoda going to Dagobah. That's kind of interesting. The wildlife. So Dagobah is teeming with life, and some of its native species have little resemblance to anything else in the galaxy, although the habitat does not change greatly from one area of the planet to another, most of the surface being a fairly uniform marshy jungle. There is a great deal of diversity between the depths of the muddy waters and the tops of the tree canopy. Each level supports its own ecology, although some species climb or fly from one to another. An example of this vertical variety is the bogwing, a flying Raptavian native to the planet, which has evolved into two subspecies, the greater bogwing and the lesser bogwing. Both prey on small animals living in the canopy, but while the greater bogwing feeds on the upper levels, the lesser bogwing feeds much lower down. So that must be the bogwing there. So pretty cool. Yoda's Hut. Yoda's Hut was his dwelling during his self-imposed exile on Dagobah and became his final resting place. It was built using parts of the escape pod. That's kind of cool. That brought him to the planet, including its illumination panels and energy source, while its thruster nozzle formed windows and doorway. Yoda packed these with mud from the nearby area to form a strong outer shell. That's kind of cool. Would have never known that. Yoda, very ingenuitive type of dude, isn't he? Fearsome creatures. So yeah, Dagobah was definitely a much different planet than any other planet they've had on any of the movies, and I feel like they should have more stuff like that. Just making sure there's nothing in this mud hut. Meant that R2D2 had to wait outside while his master talked to the diminutive Jedi Master. Yeah, because R2 couldn't get into that hole. He'd have to like lay down or something. So, Darkside Influence. So this might be interesting. The planet was unusually strong in the Force and was one of the purest places in the galaxy. However, Dagobah's history included an ancient battle to the death between the Jedi and a Beshvashi Dark Jedi, which resulted in the planet receiving a powerful taint of dark side energy that infected the cave where the Dark Jedi was killed. During the Clone Wars, Yoda discovered that Dagobah was one of 38 worlds that had been deleted from the Jedi archives. He later visited the planet to investigate the source of mysterious voices that only he could hear. In the cave, Yoda experienced a vision in which he learned about the existence of the Sith influence on the galaxy and the threat to the Jedi Order. When these evils were manifested in the Great Jedi Purge, Yoda fled from the Polis Massus in an escape pod. He headed into exile on Dagobah, reasoning that a world that didn't exist on the charts and which was strong in the Force offered the best chance for him to remain undetected. This proved to be the case, and he made his home in the mud hut near the Cave of Evil, whose baleful energy would further mask his light side presence. After the Battle of Hoth, Luke Skywalker was visited by the spirit of Obi-Wan Kenobi, who instructed him to journey to Dagobah and learn the ways of the Force from Yoda. Luke traveled to the planet in his X-Wing, but neither he nor R2 could use the ship's scopes to penetrate the cloud cover and select a safe landing site. The X-Wing crashed, landed into the swamp, and soon sank in the mud from which it was later had to be extracted. So it's a bit interesting because if it wasn't on the charts, how did Luke end up finding it? That's kind of a bit of a perplexing little thing there. So yeah, I'm kind of curious how that was supposed to be. Cave of Evil. Dagobah's Cave of Evil was a force nexus corrupted by dark side energies. Long ago, the Jedi Knight Minch battled a powerful Befasi Dark Jedi leader. When the Jedi killed his opponent, his dark side energies were absorbed into the surroundings, tainting the spot with a lasting evil influence. When Yoda went into hiding, he realized that living near the cave would help to mask his presence, prevent his detection by the Sith. So there you go. Pretty interesting. So the only other thing that we have here is this behind the scenes set building part. So round padded corridors and doorways became a classic sci-fi convention during the 1970s, heavily influenced by the landmark 2001 Space Odyssey released in 1968. Similar set features in movies as diverse as Moonraker 1979, Alien 1979, and Saturn III 1980. The design cues for all of them were probably images of real aircraft and space vehicles, particularly the widely screened sequences of astronauts undergoing a few minutes of weightless training in reduced gravity aircraft, the interiors of which were padded to prevent injuries when normal gravity returned. Right. So, they call it the vomit comet, right? So, they're saying that that's where a lot of the set designers probably got their idea for all the padding and stuff is from that. So that's kind of an interesting concept. Trying to see if this is talking about the seats. Is that the seats there? Is that what it is? Let's just say Norman Reynolds' 1978 drawing of the whole built for filming The Empire Strikes Back shows how separate foam pads were applied to the rounded doorways on the plywood wall. A note reads, "Cut padding around units." Oh, okay. So these are supposed to be uh, the the wall, the arches, and they were supposed to cut the padding for it. Interesting. So not a lot in there. I kind of buzzed through it, but I felt like you didn't need me to read the entire bit about Dagobah and the Navicomputer and all that kind of stuff. I read what I thought was the interesting stuff. But that is the end of issue 10. Again, we will be going to issue 11. Um, so you'll see that this upcoming Friday. And hope you're enjoying the series. All right. Take care, everybody. And may the force be with you always.